Good afternoon. Good afternoon, all of you. Welcome back to Unacademy Chess. Okay, let me see if I'm live. Yes, I am. I'm live now. Good. Hope I'm visible and audible both. Hi, Som. Hi, Kamal. Welcome. Okay. So as of now, we have two. I can see two, three, four. Yeah, great. Hi, Kiran. Hi. Just to confirm from who have joined, am I audible and visible? Is it loud and clear? If I am loud and clear and clearly visible, let's start the session. Okay, great. So I am. So I'm confirmed. Hope Kamal and Kiran for you as well. Yeah, great. Okay. So today again we'll be seeing some old classical games, maybe between 1960 to in 1960 to 1970 period. So it will be shorter games, but good tactics, good strategies will be. We can definitely go through these strategies. Let's start with the game number one. Okay, D4, D5, C4. So, can anyone tell me? I think in earlier class I had asked the name of the opening. If you guys are comfortable with the name of the openings, I can just proceed, or I'll just give a small brief on the particular move order of the opening. Like in my opening session, the first session I had briefed little bit about the openings. So if you are okay with it, Kiran says his Queen's Gambit still is not accepted. If black captures d into c4, it's Queen's Gambit accepted. Otherwise, it's Queen's Gambit decline. Yes, correct. Kiran, you are right. Okay. Yeah, Queen Pawn opening. Hi Vedant, welcome. Okay, but black decided to go with a accepting the gambit line. That's d into c4. Knight f3, knight f6, knight c3, c6, e3. White is straight away planning to recapture the c4 pawn. Black played for e3. He played b5. Started supporting the c4 pawn. Normally, with the Queen's Gambit accepted setup, when the pawns are on c4, b5, and c6, what's the best way for white to crack this pawn structure? Because if you look at the A, B, C, these three files, black is having four pawns as against white's two pawns. So as a normal understanding, we should never advance the pawn where we are in minority. But with the certain setups, particularly with Queen's Gambit accepted, the minority side attacks the majority of the pawns. Hi, welcome Atul, welcome. So A4, I think A4 was told by Kamal, Soham, good, good going. A4, taking the break on the B5. Now he cannot support with A6 because A into B6, you cannot capture A into B6 because it's pin. If C into B, C, sorry, not B6, B5, knight into B5. And black regains the pawn, white regains the pawn, and next move will be getting the C4 pawn as well. So he'll remain a pawn up, comfortable pawn up. So definitely black cannot think of a6. Same way bishop a4 would be again a worst move. Bishop means ba4, I'm sorry. Pawn into a4 would be again a worst move. Like something like this if you play. Alku, black will lose a pawn after into c4 and then rook into a4 or knight into a4. So both the pawns will be regained by white but with a better position. So black will never go with these lines. In fact, black should not go or think of these lines. Okay, a4 and d5. I guess he should have given a thought for the b4. But this particular position, black is one more short. Like if he plays b4, what should white play? Still white will get a better position. What should he play? What white should play for b4? Because the pawn is still on a7, that will make a difference. Yes, Kamal says knight a2, perfect. Knight a2. Attack with the bishop. So either of the pawn he loses and white gets a center advantage. No, Atul, any2 is too passive. Any2 is stopping the diagonal, closing the diagonal of the bishop, giving little, free hand for black because his both the pawns are not attacked at the moment. So he will get sufficient time to defend those pawns. Are you clear, Atul? Okay. Knight a2. So of course he didn't go for this. Black played and d5. Can you suggest a move from white now? White played a more aggressive option and little bit unclear will take you to the unclear positions. That's ne5. Yeah, ab5 is worth considering. Let's see what happens for ab5. Okay, Kiran says ab5. Ojas says knight into d5. Ojas, I disagree with knight into d5. It's not a good move because it's better not to allow black to support the c4 pawn with another pawn. So ab5, yes, but for ab5, knight into c3, pawn into c3, maybe that position, or ab5, cb5. We will just continue with his plan. ab5 is definitely an interesting option. He played knight e5, knight into c3, pawn into c3, queen d5. It's quite an immature move from black's point of view. He has not developed any of his pieces and is getting the queen in the center. So definitely it is a bad idea. So is there any way that white can really think about it? Can anyone? Atul says queen c2, threatening e4. Okay, yeah, it's interesting plan. Putting the pressure on the queen. Kamal says bishop e2 and bishop 3. Yes, that makes more sense. Atul, I guess you should think of bishop e2. Kiran says ab5 and then rook a5. Yes, that's also an interesting option. But unless you are able to capture on c4 or take the control of this diagonal, rook a5 won't be that useful. So first bishop e2 is correct. White played bishop e2. Suddenly bishop f3 is a serious threat and a into b5. Even if you move the queen, there is something like queen d6, say. Even then I'll take a b5, c b5, bishop e2. So it won't work. Black must get his bishop in action so that for bishop f3 he should be able to play bishop e4. So he played bishop f5. Now a into b5. Queen into b5 loses to bishop into c4 and bishop into f7. C into b5. So c into b5. Now, now the idea which earlier, I guess, let me find out who had uh, mentioned about that idea. Let's see. I think Kiran Phatak has mentioned about that idea a few moves back. That time I had specifically categorically had mentioned that if you are able to capture c4, you can definitely go for it. Uh, Kamal Castle, of course, it's not a bad move, but I think we should aim for something bigger. Black is underdeveloped, so let's be a little bit greedy and selfish from the game's point of view. Now the correct move is rook a5. Now threatening bishop into c4. It's pin after rook a5. After that, again f7 is being attacked. So rook a5, min b7. Now, what to play? Definitely white is winning, but now we must find the correct move order and to execute the advantage in a win. Castles, bishop a3. Okay, anyone with any other move? Kiran, bishop a3 is not threatening anything right now. Okay, I understand you're stopping him to play e6, and if he plays e6, we can capture bishop into f8, and black won't be able to do castles. I agree, that's a good idea. Kamal says we early developed the rook. That is not danger. I mean, I couldn't get you, Kamal. I couldn't understand your question. Uh, are you telling me that it's a bad move? Kiran says QB1. QB1? Oh, okay, then QB1. But bishop is on f5, Kiran. Sumit, king f7? No. Uh, yeah, Kamal gave the correct move order here right now. Is bishop f3. That's the move. Oh, I'm so sorry, I made the wrong arrow. Bishop f3 and a dangerous diagonal. So, bishop f3, bishop e4. Now, with a fantastic calculation, practically white finished the game in hardly 3 4 moves. Can you find the continuation for white, which will decide the game quickly? That's interesting. I mean, Kamal, okay, Kamal says rook b5. Interesting. Is giving the rook after even bishop into f3 is quite interesting move. Then anyone with any other move? Kiran also supported with rook b5. Okay. What about others? Any other idea? Oh, rook b5. Okay, good. Rook b5. Oh, majority of the people saying rook b5. Yes, that's the right option. Rook into b5. If queen into b5, will lose to bishop into e4 and bishop into a8. White will be clear piece up. But we must not ignore the move bishop into f3. What happens for now? Bishop into f3. Are we supposed to play queen f3, queen into f3, g into f3 and play the pawn up ending? Like you'll be getting the c4 pawn, but still black will have a good chance of playing a5, a4 and everything. One, uh, one is saying queen a4, Atul, Kiran says queen a4, Kamal says queen f3. Okay, Shresh said queen a4. Oh, so we are getting more weightage for the queen a4. Yes, queen a4 decides the game on the spot. Uh, Queen f3, as I had seen, as I had told, queen into f3, and of course, white is having a better position, but he will get a pawn on c4, of course. Like, let's see a few moves, what happens. Something like this. Yes, this position is definitely winning for white because it's clearly pawn up. You can do just bishop a3, king d2, and another rook to a1 or b1, and just clear pawn up. I understand, but queen f3 is will take quite a decent amount of time, but queen a4 decides the game there itself. Same thing happens for rook into b7 as well, Vedant. Rook into b7, bishop into d1, king into d1, and the game will go on. He will remain just one pawn up. But now let's see what happens with queen a4. Hi Shashikant. So queen a4, dangerous threat of discovered check, attack on the queen, multiple threats. If it tries to get any piece on c6, if it gets the bishop on c6, if bishop on c6 loses to knight takes c6, cannot play this because of rook b7. If he plays this, rook b check, and white will have a huge material advantage. If maybe king here, check, and white remains a rook up. Knight f7. Sumit, why knight f7? I think this is much better. Don't you think so? I think knight into c6 was more convincing, right? Electric shadow. For the comfort of everyone, all are requested to post their questions or the comments in Hindi or English. Okay. So here for Queen A4, of course, Black resigned on the spot. Now let's see a game played by Spassky Boris. Another game where again Spassky was white. E4, C5, Knight F3, Knight F6, E5. Thank you, Shashikant. And D5, and C3, E6, N5, D5, D4, knight C6, knight C6. Anyway, he was forced to play this because now the D5 pawn would be a big trouble for us. Yes, yes, the same Boris Spassky. Okay, for those who have joined my class for the first time, I can see Shashikant and Pranil. Uh, Even in my earlier classes, I had mentioned that during the game, till the game is on, I'll discuss only about the questions raised by you about particular game. But after the game is over, your all other questions will be answered. So only questions related to game will be answered during the game. Okay, so for knight c6, d into c5, bishop into c5, queen into d5, queen b6. Here the activity starts. Pranil, never mind. No, no issues. That is just to reduce the wastage of time for the class. Because if I keep on answering the questions not related to chess, we just waste our time. Yeah. So white played bishop c4, giving away the f2, but putting the pressure on the f7.
Check.
King e2, castles, rook f1. See this, Kiran is asking Sicilian what variation. Normally it goes in a closed Sicilian where the d4 is not played at an early stage. Castles, rook f1, bishop c5. Okay, Kamal is asking me, yes, I like that question. Who is winning in this game? In fact, that's what our analysis will decide. That is what we have to find out, Kamal. We should be able to evaluate the plus and minus points of white and black both. And after the proper evaluation, we should be able to come to a conclusion that who is better. So what you think? What's your opinion about the position? Who is in a better position? Okay, Pranil says black because white king is exposed. Okay. Kamal says he's white. Shashikant is suggesting a move with NG5. Kiran says black. Okay. We have more people who are active on the chat. I guess only few are giving the fair opinion about the position. Yes, everyone waiting for the others solutions. Vedant says black. Okay. Black. So bishop on c8 is bad. Knight g5 is suggested by Shashikant favors white. Okay, now coming to the position evaluation. The main, whoever has said that black is better, I think their main intention was white's king is exposed. So how will you say, how will you define that the white king is exposed? There are two ways that there is no shelter for the king, and another is there are too many threats around your own king. Opponent's pieces are creating too many threats, attacks on your king or the king side. The more dangerous aspect of that is if there is attack on our king, that is more dangerous than just exposed king. Because exposed means there is no shelter right now, but that doesn't confirm that opponent's pieces are approaching your king and attacking the king. So right now, yes, white's king on e2 is exposed, but fortunately, at least 2 to 3 moves, Not a single piece of black can really threaten white's king. So if we are able to take advantage of that 2-3 moves before black can consolidate his position, then black will be in trouble, and then white's king on e2 won't be a weak or won't be an exposed king. So Kamal said, Shashikant said, I think most of them said knight g5. Even Vedant changed his opinion saying white not because of knight g5. Hi Saket, welcome. So yes, knight g5. That's an interesting move. This one, two, three, and four attacks. So he is losing the f7 by force. That's for sure. Black cannot defend the f7. He goes with knight into e5. What if rook e8 and bd6? Pranil is asking, Pranil, when white played knight g5, that point you're talking about rook e8? Kiran says a3 and b4. Kiran, I guess that's quite a slower plan. I mean, Pranil says no. Okay, then at which point a3 and b4? Without knight g5? Okay, never mind. So I think there was some confusion. That's fine. Electric shadow, as I mentioned in the earlier, it will be discussed after the game is over. Okay, so ng5, knight into e5, queen into e5, black played d5. He has sacrificed a piece. Now, if he is able to get the pieces around white's king, then white will be in trouble because with one move he can give bishop g4 check and like something bishop here, this rook here, and this rook here. It's really going to be a little bit dicey for white. Spassky coolly captured queen into d5. Rook e8 check.
check,
Get the king. Now, Saket, if bishop into d5, as I told earlier, just bishop g4 check and rook e8, rook d1 will follow. Rook d8, I'm sorry. Saket says king f3. Okay. Yes, king f3 is a strong move right now. White must go with king f3. Because if we keep the king on the d or e file, slowly black's rooks will start attacking the king. So, king f3, queen f6 check,
check,
king g3, bd6 check.
check,
Now, what to do? King d3, Saket says rook f4, okay. Electric Shadow also says rook f4. Bishop f4, okay. Few of them are telling me bishop f4. Just be careful, okay. Shashikant says bishop f4. Vedant says bishop f4. I'm personally against bishop f4. Can anyone find out why? Pranil says no, bishop f4 not good. Pranil, can you confirm what happens for bishop f4? Let me show you on the board. If white plays bishop f4, yes, Pranil rightly said rook e3 check.
check,
And it's going to be disaster. If king h4, queen h6 mate, king f2.
check,
If you play this, check, it will be a disaster for white. So he can't play bishop f4. But yes, we have a strong move with rook f4. That's what actually happened in the game. Rook f4. Spassky played rook f4. Bishop e6, knight into e6, rook into e6, d6. White's, White is trying to get rook for two bishops. If rook into d6, rook into f6. And White's two strong bishops will be dangerous than a rook on f6. Like if you take this, I'll take, you take this, I'll just get the bishop to f4. And Pranil says there's some problem with the sound thing. Can you please slow down the sound when move is played? It's too loud. Okay, let me try with the particular app, but maybe after this game is over. I don't want to change the settings right now. But I'll keep this your suggestion in mind. So this would be just losing for black. So for queen into d6, white played queen into d6, black played queen g6,
check,
rook g4, rook e3.
check,
He has managed to keep the queen alive, but at the cost of two bishops and one rook. That's bad. Really, more than sufficient counterplay for white.
check,
Who is better, white or black? It's equal pawns. White is having two rooks, two bishops, as against black's queen and rook. Who is better? Of course, white. Shashikant says white. Saket, white. Electric Shadow says black. No, of course, it's without saying, of course, as the Shashikant rightly said, of course, white. We really have to go with the same word because even if we just count the points of each piece, rook is having five, bishop, two bishops will have three or three and a half each. That comes to 7, 12, and black's queen is just 9 points. And the most important thing is white king is now at in a safe zone. Only if king is under mating net, then that's tricky with the queens when opponent is having a queen on the board. So let's continue the game. What happened in the game, we'll see. Rook f4, rook f4, stopping. As well, it was a pressure on the f7. Bishop b3. Keeping all the pieces at a safe zone. So rook, bishop b3, queen e5, rook e1, g5, rook f3, king g7, rook d1, f6, king g1, g4. With the next move played by Spassky, black decided to resign. Can you find the move? Saket comes with bishop d4. I think yes, bishop d4 decides the game instantly. Oh, rook f6. No, Kiran, you have to be a little bit careful every time. If you play rook into f6, I have queen into e3, that's a check. And that will be a disaster. Or else, there's another interesting option. If you play rook into f6, I can take queen into f6. If bd4, pinning the queen, I have rook e7, rook e1
check,
check, forced check.
check,
You move the king and I capture the pawn, and all of a sudden, black is in a better, I can say, a winning position. So not rook into f6. But as Saket and Kamal again said, you have changed to bishop d4. Yes, bishop d4 is simpler in all the exchanges or the captures. White remains one piece up. Whether he capture this, I capture this, take, and it's just one clear piece up. Right. Hope you have enjoyed this game the way Spassky played. Okay. Now I'll show you a game played by Pacman Ludek. I'm not sure if you have heard about the player Pacman. He was a great player. Of course, most of us we know the game which used to be on the earlier mobiles, Pacman. That game, but not this one. He was a great player. Let's see the game now. It was a short 15 moves victory for him. The game was played in 1962 in National Championship of Czechoslovakia. Pranil, I'll be coming with which book to read, which for every category, then something about Unacademy. That will be at end of the class. Not to worry, it will be there. I'll be answering all the questions raised by all of you. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, knight f6, candles, knight into e4, rook e1 and d6. Yes, it's Rilo page, Pranil. Rilo page opening. Now, knight into e5, knight into e5, rook into
check,
e5, bishop e7. How should white continue? How should he continue the game now? Saket is suggesting bishop f1. Shashikant says queen e2. Okay. Queen e2, we have two takers. Bishop f1, Saket, Kamal sees or d4. Okay, Kamal is in both the moves, pawn d4 and queen e2, queen e1. So bishop a4 and then bishop b3. Okay, and c3. Shashikant says also playable. I think NC3 is a stronger move. The simple reason is whenever you're trying to get the one more attack on the E7, if you attack with Queen E2 or Queen E1, that really won't help us. But if you attack with another piece other than Queen, then next move you're threatening to capture the E7. So NC3. Knight into B5. Now ND5. Yes, ND5. Pranil, if you capture knight into B5, then only white black can castle, but ND5 will decide the things. Knight D5, D6, you can
check,
take king F8. Now, Queen H5, D4. Who just says Queen F3? Yes, Queen F3 is interesting and stronger. Pacman played Queen F3. Queen F3 threatens the mate in 1. So, that is a stronger move. If we don't keep on attacking black's pieces, we'll have C6, bishop E6, and the things would be a little difficult for us. Now we can't play bishop A6 because F7 is pinned. I can just capture rook into E6. F6. Now, still Saket said C3. Okay. Knight F6. Saket, when black can play bishop E6, instead of F6, he cannot because rook into E6 will come. Knight into F6, you need to think about queen into E7. Queen H. Okay, I think Saket is telling us some analysis. He is mentioning with a sequence, sir, black can play bishop e6. Bishop e6 at which point? It's tough to find at which one. Sorry, oh, Saket, give me a few minutes. I'm just trying to figure out your analysis. So black can play bishop e6. Okay, okay. So rook into e6, knight d4 is talking about. Is it that, Saket? Is that the move? What you're talking about? Instead of f6, bishop f6? Sorry, bishop e6, rook into e6 and d4? Is it the move? Yeah, yes, yes. That's the only best option was available for black, which you should have tried. Yes, perfect. Good one. He should have played the same line. Fantastic calculation, Sakit. Good. Here, white played d3, not c3. Now, c6. Black immediately played c6. Now, what to do? If we are forced to move the knight, if then we lose e7. Hi, Ankush. Okay, Shishingant is closer, but definitely queen into f6.
check,
But I'm not thinking about the discovered check and getting the queen back. G into f6, bishop h6.
check, checkmate,
All queen h5 is bad. Queen h5 is a bad move. When you have a forced mate, no other move would be better than queen into f6, g into f6, bishop h6 check, king g8, and knight f6 mate. Okay, okay, good. Now let's go to game played by Reshevsky. This was played in 1962 again in US Championship. Reshevsky was white. Okay, so c4. Yes, Shashikant. Yes, definitely that will be enough to win. But always we should make it a habit that in a particular chess game, we have to get the strongest option. Okay, Pranil says volume. Okay, let me try this with the. Uh, oh no. Okay, okay, okay. I think for that I need to make little bit changes. So I assure you the next class, let me work on it. Okay. Okay, Ankush says, okay, it's all intuition. Yeah. Yes. Okay, now the game is between Reshavsky. One c4 is to be known as English opening. E6 and c3, d5, c into d5, c into d5, d4. Started with one c4, that's English opening, transports to Queen's Gambit decline. Or Sicilian reverse. No way, it's not Sicilian reverse, Ankush. It cannot be. If he plays e5, that might be reversed. With e6, it cannot be. Okay, so d4, bishop e7, knight f3, knight f6, bishop f4, c6, queen c2. Okay, now the typical queen's gambit declined position on the board. Many times white maintains the bishop on f4 or g5, both at both the places. The interesting plan definitely for black is if he can exchange the c8 bishop with the f1 bishop. Because when the bishop comes on d3, that's a long range diagonal and it's continuously keep pressurizing the h7 as well, supporting the minority attack on the queen side, the bishop. So black definitely went with the correct plan right now here. He played g6. The idea is to play bishop f5 and black himself will capture the longer diagonal. e3, bishop f5, bishop d3, bishop into d3, queen into d3. So far so good. I mean what he was doing is correct. But black is practically going for exchanging the pieces. He might be thinking that if he's able to exchange all the pieces against the stronger player like Reshavsky, it will be easier for him to draw the game. Like looking up, seeing after the next move, all of you will definitely agree with me. He played knight h5. He should have concentrated or he should have done the development first before knight h5. Maybe castles, knight bd7, so that after bishop h6 he won't be able to castle. So maybe first castle, but knight h5 is definitely not at all a good option. Yes, bishop h6. Stronger players normally they don't give you a second chance. Rishavsky did the same thing. He immediately captured the stronger diagonal. Bishop f8. King into f8. Okay. I agree that black is not able to castle, but he'll be going for the artificial castling. That term is known as black will be taking the king to the shelter and get the rook, but with different moves, not with the special move of castle. Simple. Only in that case, practically black will have one, two, and three. So three moves, which is normally done in one move after castles. So it's not really key. Now white is clearly winning. Of course, black has vested few moves. So it's a positional advantage what white is having. It's not that he is having a clear winning position. This one thing we must understand because his king on f8 will remain for hardly one or two moves. Very soon he will play king g7 and get the rook to e8. So it will be as good as a castle. Because he will have to waste two or three extra moves to do this. That advantage we should take. So immediately white starts with a minority attack, that's b4. I just to confirm with all of you, are you aware about the concept of a minority attack? If majority of them know this, then I won't discuss that right now in the class. Like what is a minority attack? Okay, Saket says yes, that's good sign. First one says yes, good. All others, okay, Agnipa, Kamal, yes, Praneel, yes. Okay. I I think yes, I think whoever has posted in the message. Oh, Abhinav says no. Okay. Since we have one negative answer, let me explain you, not in detail, but at least some fair idea. Minority attack means on any number of files, particularly now let's consider about A, B, C and D file. On these three files, white is having 3 pawns and black is having 4 pawns. So Only considering the file and the pawns, on these four files, black is having a majority of pawns. So that is a majority. And white is having the minority pawns because he's having one lesser pawn. That is compensated on the these four files. Okay. Now, by default, if you need to get the initiative in most of the chess opening middle game strategies, we always say ki play on your stronger points where you have a majority. But there are few setups where it's a reverse. Now black is having a majority, but black doesn't play on the queen side, and whereas he plays on the king side, where he's having a minority of the pawns, and vice versa, like white plays on the queen side. So basically, white tries to crack over here, capture this, get the knight bind on c5, rook here, and put the pressure on the backward pawn. Okay, small query. When I attack king side, where my king also in king side, I don't like to move any pawns. Okay, Kamal, I had mentioned in the earlier game, like when the king was on e2, one of our subscribers said the king is exposed. See, remember, the king is exposed. That may be because of the two reasons. The more dangerous reason for us is opponent's pieces are closer our king and creating a number of threats. That is a dangerous thing. But if there is no shelter for the king, but there is no attack as well. So really that doesn't matter much if we have a strong attack. Okay. So B4. Ankush, did you get a little idea about this? And Abhinav, what is a minority attack? If you have a Kamal, okay, Kamal was anyway knowing the concept, so uh, okay. Let's assume, yeah, Abhinav, that's good. Due to time constraint, I can't tell you in detail, but maybe in my next sessions, I'll be doing all these concepts thoroughly. Okay. So for B4, it started the minority attack, Queen E7, castles, winning to B4, Rook A B1, Queen E7. He has sacrificed the pawn on the B4. Rishabhaski starts the aggression now. White is taking the advantage of poor development of black's pieces and the misplaced black knight and queen and the king. Let's see how. E4 opens the center. Good, Saket. Perfect. E4. D into E4. Knight into E4. King G7. Rook F. E1. Rook D8. Knight G3. Trying to actually open up the G file. Queen F6. Knight
check,
H5. G into H5. Now white got a target on H5. He's having two open files under his control. Knight is closer the king. Queen is controlling the center and ready to go on any of the front, either on the queen side or king side. Yes, Saket said rook e5. That's the correct move. Rook e5. D7. Rook f5. Without wasting more time in capturing the pawn at this moment. Queen d6. Yes, Kamal, rook h5 also is an interesting move, but you will play h6. With rook f5 is eyeing for something more in g5. F6 and e4. Queen e6. Yes, even rook f7 and f7 both were threatened Saket, right? Queen e6, rook into h5. Again, threatening rook h7. He did capture the h5, but with a stronger position. In f8. Now, what should we play? Queen b3 check. Oh, just, are you fine? Queen b3 check is not possible. Rook b7, sacrificing the rook. Okay. Ng5 is by Saket. Ng5, f into g5. Oh, just queen b3 is not a check. Vedant says queen g3. For queen g3, I can play knight g6. Pranil says rook b7 check. Okay. Rook d7. For rook b7 check, rook d7. Rook e1, rook f, king f1. Oh, I think why not just simple knight c5? Now I can take this and you cannot interpose with rook d7 as well. Adarsh, ng5, pawn into g5 was there. Abhinav, queen g3 check, and g6. And c5, it's much stronger move. And g3 threatens nothing, Kamal. Like for your nf5 check, I can go king h8. So nc5, queen e8, rook into b7 check.
Check.
King g8, queen g,
Check.
queen g6. Now, rook h at 7. Okay. For rook h at 7, queen into g3. Kamal, you take pawn into g3, I'll take knight into h7, a rook down. Not possible. Fantastic finish by Rishavsky. After getting the control of the position, now white is aiming for a mate on the black's king. Before queen g3, rook h h7. Let me just take back a little bit. Rook h h7. Are you looking at the back rank of your near own king? Can't think of it, right? Okay, so queen g3 check,
Check.
queen g6. Now the interesting move is ne4. Going for the mate, not ne6, ne4. If queen g3, knight f6.
Check.
Come on, no need to say sorry. We are here just to analyze and learn. So I'm fine.
Check. Checkmate.
So there's one more query by Pranir. Why not queen c7? Okay. What happens for rook d7 when you play queen c7? No, okay. Before knight e4 you're talking about. Now queen c7. I can't find a threat on black's king. What are you threatening with queen c7? No threat. It's just looking attractive. Only idea is if I capture queen g7, you have a mate. But there's no threat. So, okay, the another option was ne6. No. Ne6, knight into e6. But I think the simple here is ne4. Threatening to capture the pawn on the move. A dangerous threat. And d7, white is not giving a single chance to black to get some his pieces in the game and consolidate the position. Even nd7 doesn't work. Uh, so, Saket for ne4, rook d4, knight f6 check. Things would be worst. Rook d7 as Kamal rightly said. Rook into d7. Rook into d7. Knight f6 check.
check,
King f7. What to do now? We cannot ignore this check, so knight into d7 is not possible. Saket, at which point you're talking about equalization? So after ne4, rook d4. Okay, let me complete this variation and then we'll go back to ne4, rook d4. Give me a moment. Yes, rook at 7 check.
check,
King f6.
checkmate,
It's over. Right? Okay, Saket is saying some variation. Let's analyze this. Like I think ne4 is talking about after ne4. Okay, now Saket is asking for rook d. Is it the one? Is this the variation? Okay. So n rook d4. Okay. Can anyone tell me any idea or the plan for this? King h8, one king h8 Ojas. Now Kamal says knight f6. That's interesting, definitely. Ojas, everyone says knight f6.
check,
King h8. Now queen b3 check.
check,
Rook h at 7. Rook h at 7. I don't know what are those variations they are talking about. Okay, coming back to the main line. We can think on this at this point here itself. After knight f6 check, okay, queen g6. too many analysis. Knight f6 check. Queen g6 is when I think Saket. Which point Saket? Queen g6. Rook d1 is threatened. Yes. Now Queen g6. Yes. First Queen g6 and
check, 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 check,
and a clear win. Much easier. Unfortunately, White doesn't have a chance to mate. No, I think it will be a mate. Yes, it's a mate. The mate will follow. No, for King F8, I can't do a mate. Okay, I have to be happy with two extra pawns and go with this. Shashikant also said one more interesting line. But Shashikant, for Rook B into H7, Black will capture with Knight into H7, not Queen into H7. Like what Shashikant analyzed here. It's an interesting option, but it's not forced. That's the worst thing. What he showed is take
check,
check.
check,
He says if Queen H7, then Queen G8 is a mate.
checkmate,
I agree. But for this, you'll capture Knight H7, and then we are in trouble because there's a back rank mate. Yeah, Pranil, if you direct takes Queen into G6, it's a win. That's what we saw. Like Queen G6, Knight F6 check. That's a win. That's easy win. Okay, Saket. So enjoy your G class and uh, have a nice day, nice evening today. Okay, and now coming back to a few of the questions we were asking. Somebody has asked me about the tournament entry fees. Shashikant, I guess you can just visit all the websites or ask the few of the WhatsApp group members to add you in few of the groups. You'll get all the information on the WhatsApp itself nowadays. Kamal had asked when I attack king side, where my king also in king side. I think Kamal had answered this during the particular game itself. Okay, one more is what is the any other one? I'm just trying to find all the questions. It's a big chat, so please tell a good book for beginner to improve chess. Beginner Electric Shadow had asked. I mean, what at what level? Particularly, can you explain me in the rating point? Pranil had asked, now tell us some information about Unacademy chess coaching. Pranil, this platform is consisting of a top grandmasters, international masters, a fantastic IT team, and strong rated players, renowned coaches are on the panel. Practically daily, 4 hours to 5 hours minimum classes will be there on the UN Academy portal. We have strong grandmasters like Vishwanathan Anand himself. So, with this one name, you'll really come to know what strong team we have. There will be a structured syllabus followed on this. When you go to the site, you will see the subscription rate as well. Even without discount, right now the rates are really economical. Till 5th of September, if you can see my video picture below that, there's chess subscription is mentioned. If you take the 1 month subscription with my referral code, the membership which is normally 1500, you will get at 99 rupees for 1 month from the date you take the membership. So once you visit the site, you will get more and more information, and I'll be here tomorrow as well. If you have any query, all the questions are welcomed and answered on the same class itself. Right? Hope all the questions are answered, And thank you guys. It was nice working, describing the game and working with you. Hope you had the same feeling. Hope to see you in my next classes. So keep sharing and keep following. Thank you. Bye. Take care.